So in 2021 is when I really started to have my spiritual awakening. And it wasn't until like the end of 2021 that it was New Year's Eve, and I had a friend come over and his girlfriend for New Year's Eve. And we were just like having a super chill, like low-key thing, like nothing crazy. And we were just like hanging out, and we're like, what should we do? And he started telling me about this East Forest playlist that him and his girlfriend had done when they were on mushrooms, and how it was like super healing. It was like a physician's guided playlist to help guide an awakening and just like internal healing, basically. Not awakening, but an internal healing. And I was like, oh my God, that sounds amazing. Because I've always been drawn to that type of stuff anyway. So I was like, ooh. And he's like, too bad we didn't have mushrooms. And I was thinking, and I'm like, wait a minute. I had like a few months before, which I'm terrible about unpacking, but like maybe like 4 or 5 months before, I had gone on a trip with friends, and we were partying, and one of my friends had given out to a few of us like our own personal like little bag of mushrooms to take if we wanted to while we were at the clubs and stuff. And I completely had forgotten about it. I never took mine. I like just zoned out when we were partying and stuff. I didn't even remember. I was obviously having so much fun without them. But I was like, wait a second. I have a bag of mushrooms in my suitcase that I never unpacked from that trip. So I was like, let me go see if they're in there somewhere. So I literally like went and looked in my suitcase and found them. And I had I had a little scale, so I weighed it out, and I had 3.3 grams. So we each took 1.1, and we put on the playlist on the surround sound in my living room, and we just like lied down on the floor and like I lit candles around and like set the ambiance, so it was like super chill. And we just like lied down and listened to this playlist. And it was the most incredible experience I had ever had up to that point. Like, that's when I was able to see, more of the actual realm and the energy around everything. And it was just such a profound experience. And during this, or after rather, he had told me that when him and his girlfriend had taken mushrooms, sometimes they connected on their trips, and they were like going through certain things together in the astral. And I was like, huh, like I was like, that's cool. And then, so fast forward, so we had this experience, and then it was like almost a month later, and one of my best friend at the time, she was going to go to an ayahuasca retreat at Rhythmia in Costa Rica. And and that for her was prompted because her boyfriend at the time basically gave her an ultimatum and was like, I'm going to break up with you if you don't go do this, which is like super fucked up, and no one should ever do that to somebody, especially because she was not a spiritual person at all, and doesn't know like about the spiritual realm, anything to do with that, like super 3D. So she was so grounded in the 3D that when she had told me this, I was like, oh, that's awesome. But I just remember thinking, like, is it awesome? Because, what if something, like, if she sees what I saw just in that last mushroom experience that I had, it could freak her out. And so anyway, I was just like, oh, that's like super cool that you're doing that. And then I don't know, like, it was a few weeks late after that, and intuitively, because I was, again, like I said, having this spiritual awakening already, I was like more and more in tune with the energies and receptive to that kind of stuff. So I just intuitively got the download that something bad would happen if she did this, because of, again, exactly going back to what I said, because she was completely grounded in the 3D and so unaware about anything spiritual whatsoever. And I immediately thought about what my friend had said about how him and his girlfriend had met up during trips. And I just intuitively knew, wait a second, I can be there with her. Like, I don't need to be in Costa Rica. I can be in Boston, but I can go there and be with her to guide her through this experience. So it was literally like an innate knowing that I just knew. It was the same as like if you put your left foot in front of your right, like you know you're going to walk. Like it was just like an innate thing that it was almost as though I have done this many times before and I just knew exactly what I needed to do and that it could be done. And there was like zero question in my mind or doubt that I could do this. So my friend goes on the retreat. I'm in communication with her the entire time. Like she's telling me about the different modalities that they're doing because they do a certain like diet and things like that leading up to the ceremonies that they do towards the end of the week. So when it came time to do the ayahuasca ceremonies, I was just like, and of course I didn't say to her, any of the things that I saw, because I'm not going to put anything negative into somebody else's mind. That's the last thing you want to do. So I was just like, let me know, when you do, what time the ayahuasca ceremony is going to start. And so also I had mushroom powder that I had asked one of my friends who I knew had some because he was doing microdosing, the Paul Stamets protocol before, and he had stopped doing it and just had the mushroom powder. So I was like, hey, can I have some of the mushroom powder that you had? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I got that, and she had told me the time that they were going to do the ceremony. So I was just like, okay, perfect. Like, and I didn't tell her that I was doing any of this. So around the same time that I knew she was going to be taking the ayahuasca, I took mushrooms. And it was a lead up to this. I was seeing certain numbers and certain signs, and this is why you have to be paying attention to everything. But it's easier as you're having the spiritual awakening because, again, like, you don't have to try. You just know, like, when you see certain things. So that's how I knew how much mushroom powder to weigh out. So I weighed out the amount that I saw to take, and I tested it, and I was like, okay, if this is the amount I should take, have it pour out into the little jar that I had on the scale to that exact amount. And the exact amount poured out, whatever that amount was. And it did. So I took that amount, and then I did it right before the time that she was going, again, take the ayahuasca. And almost instantaneously, because a lot of times, like when you take mushrooms, or if people have experience with that, like there's a slower onset, like it'll be like, like 20 minutes until it starts kicking in or whatever. But this was like immediate. Like immediately I took it, and then intuitively I knew, like, okay, you're going to Costa Rica now. And next thing I knew, I hear talking. And I looked down at my body, and I was like, this isn't my body. Like, whose body is this? And then I realized, oh my God, this is my friend's body. And I'm hearing her talk. And I heard her talking to the shaman. And so we literally I guided her through her ayahuasca ceremony while she was in Costa Rica, and I was in Boston, but I was in Costa Rica, if that makes sense. Like, I was experiencing and feeling and hearing what was going on around her, even though if I looked around me, I was sitting down, like, on my couch. So her and I went through different like healing things, and I was showing her different things, and I remember her, like, she turned to me and she was like, "Is this real, Danielle?" And I was like, "Yeah, like, I'm with you. Like, I'm in Costa Rica with you, but I'm in Boston." And we, like, flew around the universe a little. It was wild. It was, like, the best experience. And we also, like, did healing work together in this ceremony. And even at one point, it was awesome because they weren't allowed to have water. The shamans weren't, for some reason, the shamans wouldn't allow them to have like anything during the ceremony. And it's so wild. And this I have to like look more into, because so many experiences that I have that I want to share with people. I need to look into more myself. But this one is one that I haven't looked into that I do want to share. And it was during this process, she was like, "I'm so thirsty." And I was like, "I know, me too." And she was like, she went, and I heard her talking to the shaman, and she's like, "Can I have some water?" And they were like, "No, you can't have any water. Like, if you can restrain, like, blah, blah, blah." And I was like, wait a second, we're one. Like, I am you and you are me. I can drink water and it will quench your thirst. So I got up and went and got water and drank it, and it literally quenched both of our thirsts. Like, she was like, "Oh, thank you. Like, that quenched my thirst." And so weird things like that happened during this time too, which I don't know if it goes against the laws of physics, but this just goes to show what we are actually capable of and what this realm is, as opposed to what we are told it is. So at a certain point, I was told, okay, she's safe. Like, you did what you needed to do. Now she needs to go on her healing journey alone. So I was like, okay, like, I love you. Like, I'm going to leave you here, and like, you're safe. You're completely good. Like, you're going to go on your own journey, and I'm going to go on my own journey now. So instantaneously, I was fully consciously back in Boston. And then I went through my own healing stuff to finish out that ceremony. And then the next day when I talked to her, I didn't say anything to her. I had written down some of the things that we went through so I wouldn't forget. Because if you don't write things down after these healing ceremonies, you think you're gonna remember them, but they slip away. So just to have like points to make sure that I didn't forget, I wrote them down. And when I had talked to her the next day, she was like, "This is going to sound really weird, but you were with me. Like, you were guiding me through my ceremony." And then I told her, I was like, "Well, tell me like some of the things." So she described exactly what I had written down, like exactly the things that I experienced, she experienced, basically as like a control in a study. And so when I told her about everything, then I told her, I was shown that X, Y, and Z wasn't going to be good if I didn't go there and guide you through this. And she was like, she didn't know what to think about it. I mean, this is somebody, again, super grounded in the 3D, just had this crazy ass experience that she never thought was even possible and didn't know how to process it. And here I am telling her this other side to it. And she was just like, really? Like, this is so bizarre. Like, I don't even know what to think. But that is my experience with when I really knew, and it solidified for me, that space is a complete illusion. And the fact that we think that we are separate from one another is a complete illusion. And so hopefully when you hear this will help solidify for you that space is an illusion and help catapult you into healing and awakening and being able to access and do the same exact things if you're called to do it.